Right then guys, how's it going and welcome back to another fantasy football video. First video I've done on fantasy football in a couple of weeks. There's been a lot of football going on right now. And I got my first green arrow for the first time in a few weeks. So I'm pretty happy about that. I mean, the average this week was 60, which is a pretty high average. But when you've got players like Bruno Fernandes, Salah, some of the big hitters getting some big points this week. You know, if you had them captain, Jamie Vardy got a goal as well. If you got some of these players, you know, you're going to have a decent week. So thankfully for me, Grealish as well, he did well this week. Sterling got a goal, so you know, it's hard to run away when everyone's got these same players who do well. But yeah, had a decent week. We're going to take a look at the league to see how you guys did, take a look at my team, and then have a look at what we're going to do for the Boxing Day fixture this Saturday. So if we start off by taking a look at the league, as I said down here, green arrow. The first green arrow in so long. I mean, it must have been game week 8 or 9 the last time I got a green arrow. Everything's been red. But a very decent move up about 50 or so places. I think this week I've gone up to just outside the top 200 with 89 points, as I say. If you haven't joined my league yet, then please do jump in. I will put the code above my head. We can see down here we've actually got 2 new entries. So thank you to both of you for jumping in. And as always, if you're on this top page, you're in the top 50 of the league. You're doing better than me. You can see here William with 98, the Dream Team with 104 for Abdullah. I mean, this is what I mean. I might have had an alright week, but there's some other people had crazy weeks. You can see so many 90 plus weeks here. 102 for Nimo. Bruno affects 100. Don't have to guess who his captain was this week. If we'll keep going, top of the league, we have a new entry. It is free HK Gunners, 94 points. Klopp No Flop had a 58-point week, has moved down, now 4 points behind. Third place, this is fire. So well done to, as I say, to anyone who's up there who's doing really good. Let me know how you're doing in the league. What did you do with your team last week? What are you doing it with this week? Let's take a look at Jerry's team. Let's say 94 points. Martinez in net is not a bad shout at all. You see, he's picked up some great little pointers here because Dallas lost 6-2 but scored. Lindelof got himself a goal as well. Justin got a clean sheet and a bonus. So, I mean, that is some fantastic stuff there. Chilwell injured. He is one of the most transferred out players now this week because of that. So I think a lot of people are going to be moving him out. Bruno Fernandes, 34 points with the captaincy is not bad at all. Salah with the 16. Vardy with 12 points. You see, I made a mistake where Vardy is concerned this week, but we'll talk about that shortly. The substitute he made was Jesus out and Ward-Prowse in, so looking to free up a bit. Oh no, that was the automatic sub. Right, okay. So yeah, well done to you, mate. As I say, let me know how you did down below. We'll take a look at my team and show you how I did. So as I said, for me, it was 89 points this week. You know, which I am. You can never. I am happy. It was a good week, but when you get 89 points, you're thinking, "Wow, I've absolutely smashed it this week." And then you go on to realise that a lot of other people got 90 plus points and all sorts. So it was a good week. The green arrow was not as high as I wanted it to be, but it's a process. So. As you can see here, I made 2 transfers last week. Those transfers were... I may as well do these first. Those transfers were Vardy out for Kane. which seemed like a good idea at the time. Did I need to do it last week instead of waiting for this week? Well, possibly not, because I've lost 10 points by making that change a week too early. Did I need to make it at all with the way Spurs have suddenly decided to start playing? Possibly not. But the reason I did make that change is Spurs have got some really good fixtures coming up, and Vardy's price was going down and Kane's price was going up, and if I didn't do it there and then, I wouldn't have had the money to do it at all. So yes, it's looking pretty upsetting right now. But we're going to talk about fixtures a little bit more later, but that was why I made that Kane switch. And then the other transfer I did, which did work out, was I took Kilman out, the Wolves defender who I got in for 4 million back in the day. He was down to 4.2, and I managed to sell him at 4.1. So, a little bit of profit from him. And then I brought in Taylor from Burnley. Burnley did lose. No, they won. They won 2-1, but they conceded. But thankfully, Taylor got himself an assist. And I know it's a Burnley defender, and I wasn't 100% sure either. But they've got some decent fixtures, and their form has definitely turned around in the last 5 or 6 games. And that was a transfer worth making, because I got a few extra points from him. And then the team in general, if I could have done something else better, I wouldn't. I had Phillips on the pitch, the Liverpool defender, 4 million, who doesn't play. I just put him on in case Klopp decided to mix it up, and then Liverpool won 7-0. He didn't mix it up, he didn't play. Aylan was my first man on the bench, and he got -1. Balbuena was second on the bench because he was a potential injury risk. So I just put him second. If I'd put him in, I would have actually been 2 points better off again. But we're splitting hairs. Target with the clean sheet, Taylor with the assist, McCarthy with a few saves, so he got 3 points. And then it was the midfield. I picked the right captain, which I quite often don't do, so that was a big one for Bruno. Salah got the points as well. I think it actually might have been better for me if Salah hadn't got any points, because I think a lot of people who captained him did well this week. So if Salah had just done not, so my green arrow probably would have been better if Salah hadn't come on the pitch after 55 minutes and scored 2 goals. Grealish got 10 just. I was getting so annoyed with that game because, as you know, target Grealish and Watkins is far too much trust in an Aston Villa team. They were winning 1-0 after however long and scored 2 goals right at the end, and Grealish got the assist for both. I think one was actually a penalty. Sterling, again, the man who's really cost me a lot of money and hasn't done anything, has actually pulled in some points in the last couple of weeks. He got 7 last week, 8 this week, 13 the week before that. So, for 11.4 million when I actually paid 11.5 is a bit sad, but that's alright. Kane obviously is annoying. Calvert-Lewin is still ticking over. He got his assist this week. See, look, he doesn't really blank, but the last 5 weeks has been a bit low. And then Watkins, who, I swapped him in for Wilson. How long ago now? 6 weeks ago. And basically, since the moment he got those 13 points, that was when I put him in. And this is what he's done since then. So, for a £6 million striker, can I find anyone any better? And he scored, and it got ruled off by VAR. He scored the week before, and it was VAR that he missed a penalty at one point. Like, he is getting chances. It is not going his way. Basically, I've jinxed the poor lad. But yeah, that is where my week went. As I say, I feel like it was good, but there was just those little bits, Aylan. Why didn't I put Dallas in when I made that change? Dallas is actually moving up to 4.6 or 4.7 million now, because he's a Leeds defender who scores goals as well, whereas Aylan just doesn't get anything. Balbuena, well, the reason I've got Balbuena is because Masuaku got injured, so that was the change I made a couple of weeks ago, and then he got injured, but it looks like he's back now, which is promising. So yeah, that was how I did. Let me know your thoughts. We'll take a look at the plans for this weekend and also a little bit of talk for the future as well. Right then, so for Boxing Day this Saturday, this is how my team is looking right now. I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. I'm not actually chasing any transfers this week. I think I'm quite likely to not make any transfers this week. As I say, I had 2 built up from last week, which I used them both. So with a single transfer this week, there's not too much I can do. McCarthy against Phil, like good fixtures for all 3 of my defenders. Obviously, you're going to say Phillips doesn't play. I'm going to put him in just in case he does. But if he doesn't, Balbuena against Brighton, I think, is just as good, if not as good, as Phillips versus West Brom. And then even though Burnley versus Leeds, so I'd actually say that all of my defenders have got a good fixture this week. So there's no rush to change them. This was going back to my Chelsea defender conversation. Chilwell, James, everyone was putting them in. But I've basically got a bit of a period here where my defenders, or at least 3 defenders, have pretty much got a good fixture or have done for a few weeks now. And maybe it's worked in my favour, because if you didn't know already, both Chilwell and James are down as potential injuries as well. So if you haven't got them already, I wouldn't be putting them in this week. Moving into midfield, I've got Salah captained against West Brom. They have had Sam Allardyce come in to try and change things around, but it's still West Brom, and they did lose 3-0 against Aston Villa, although there were 10 men, so I will give them that. The other option would possibly be Sterling, and maybe I could, that green arrow would look a lot better if I put the captaincy on Sterling and he went and got a hat-trick, because I don't think he's well picked by many people. 4.3%. I mean, what's Salah? 40? 41. But Salah's just he's the easy option. He's not the guaranteed option, but he's the guy you know is probably going to get one. Whereas Man City, as much as Newcastle are useless, and I've got to think Man City will beat us, you just don't know. You don't know whether Pep's going to rotate him as well and bring him on for the last 20 minutes or something daft. Bruno Fernandes, I mean, Leicester away isn't an easy fixture, but you've got to play Bruno. He's playing so well. And Grealish, Crystal Palace got 2 assists last week. Let's hope he can do it again. My 3 strikers, again, this is why Watkins is still in there. Good God, will he ever score a goal when he's in my team? I don't think so. But he's got good fixture after good fixture, so I'm leaving him in every week, and he refuses to get any points. Calvert-Lewin, Sheffield United away. Calvert-Lewin is actually someone on my potential to get rid of list, because he hasn't been scoring the last 5 or so weeks. It's a tough one because he's currently valued at 7.9 million. I bought him in, I think it was around 7.3. 60% owned. Wow. But as I say, it hasn't been great. Everton's fixtures haven't been great either. I kept him through the Chelsea, Leicester, Arsenal. Maybe the fixtures might... No, they're still quite tough. Is it the kind of person should I just leave him in now for the rest of the season? Is that just it? Or should I take him out, get Bamford, and then move some money somewhere else? See, the thing is, I don't think I'm in a huge rush to move the money anywhere else, which is why I'm trying to take my time. What I am wanting to do, and I'll come to it in a bit, is start preparing myself for game week 19, which is the double game week, if you didn't know about it already. We'll come to that in 2 seconds, because I'm just going to talk about Harry Kane. As I say, I did put him in a week too early. I put him in. But as I say, his price went up to 11. Vardy's was going down. And Spurs have got Wolves, Fulham, Leeds, Aston Villa, Sheffield United, Liverpool. And, it gets a bit up and down from here. But, that is a really good 5 run of fixtures. And that's why I wanted to put them in. Having said that, Spurs have not been great in their last 2 games. So we're just praying that Kane can turn it around for these ones. Which, Fulham at home, Leeds, a team who's good to watch but lets goals in as many as they score. So, yeah. For this week, I think we're looking okay. So as I said, with my team, I don't know, I used to at the start of the season, I was quite future planning. Like, I had, at the very start of the season, I had the plan that I would start with Salah and Mane, but then I would move it straight out to Bruno, and I had all these plans that just, everything changes so quickly. As I was saying earlier, if I think I click on here, Chilwell and James are the most transferred out players now with the injury doubt. So if there's anything, what we should be doing is looking at the other Chelsea defenders, seeing how we can get any bargains in from the Chelsea team. And if I'd already been pre-planning those Chelsea defenders, then already that plan's fallen through. So I have kind of stopped it with the pre-planning. However, one thing I am going to start looking at now, as we move into game week 15, you guys are likely to have heard that game week 19 is the first double fixture week. And if you don't know what that is, it basically just means that these teams are playing at the weekend and the midweek, and it's down is 2 games. So if, for example, the best one I think is got to be West Ham, who are taking on Burnley and West Brom at home. So West Ham will play Burnley, but then the week doesn't end there. They also play West Brom in that same week. So if you've got a West Ham defender and he plays both games, he will get the points from both games. So if you can target to try and have players in who are playing twice. Fulham are playing twice, but they're playing Chelsea and Man U. So that isn't, in my opinion, a player you should probably be pushing for. But I would definitely say West Ham are. I think they're the best one. Leeds, Brighton and Southampton. I think if you don't have Bamford already, like me, he is not a bad player to be looking at for that week. The only problem is, they play... Well, look, Burnley, West Brom, then they play Spurs, Newcastle. Yeah, you want to try and build up as much as you can. The second wild card, I think, begins at the start of the year. So what you could actually do is wild card it for that week and completely change your team to have as many double ups as possible. The problem is then you move into game week 20, and you've got a team full of people that you might not want for the long term. You've just put them in for game week 19. What I'm looking at doing is basically between now and game week 18, 19 is just start to try and use my subs sensibly. Like I've made that Vardy to Kane switch. As I say, Kane doesn't have a double game week that week. He's got Sheffield United, but that is, I think, going to be the last sub I'm going to make who isn't a double game week player. From now on, I'm going to use the subs that I've got sensibly. So the next 5 or so subs, I'm going to try and work in. It's mainly going to be defenders. Watkins doesn't have a double game week, so maybe it's time to get him out. Ideally for maybe Antonio if he decides to be fit for West Ham. But yeah, I've not 100% worked it out, but that's the kind of feeling I'm going with for game week 18. Well, this is the thing, you've got options. You've also got the free hit if you've not used it already. I think my plan for me is to slowly work in some double game week players into game week 19. Free hit in game week 18, which means you just completely change your team for 1 week and 1 week only. Completely pack it with Man City. Who was the other one? Was it Spurs players? Maybe even a few Newcastle, Sheffield United attackers. Because there's literally... Well, how many games are even on? Like 6 games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5 games on. So half of the teams aren't playing. So just put a free hit in for that week, and then try and build my team from now till game week 19 with some double game week players. If any of that makes sense, hopefully it does. What I'd say is just be sensible with what transfers you make. And on game week 17, if you transfer in Crystal Palace player, if they've got Man City away in a double game week, it might be a player you like for the future because you're liking the way Crystal Palace are playing, but as I say, bearing in mind West Ham have got Burnley and West Brom, you know, in the space of a week. You know, even if they lose both games, if he plays the full 90 minutes in both, that's 4 points, which is better than losing one game and just getting 1 or 2 points. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts. If there's any players who you're wanting to get in for that game week, do let me know. It's quite an interesting one. As I say, I've got my Leeds defender already, I've got my West Ham defender already. Maybe West Brom could pick up some form in time for these two, because I'm not sure I could back them right now. I mean, Chelsea, Fulham and Leicester. You know, I don't think that's a bad shout. Burnley, West Ham, Liverpool isn't easy. You know, so it's a funny one because, you know, there's some in there with some tough fixtures. But you still want to try and use it. 3 West Ham players and just call it a day there. Like, you don't want to completely ruin your team to do a double game week. I'm not planning on taking out, you know, my main players. Everton don't have one either, do they? No, Aston Villa. So yeah, there's definitely something thinking to do there, but there you go. But yes, guys, that is it from me. Thank you all for watching. I thought before I went I would take a quick look at who is actually on here for Chelsea, and to be honest, there is no cheap deals where Chelsea are concerned, unfortunately. I presume it'll be Azpilicueta who replaces James, who's actually more expensive. Left back Alonso, probably, and he's 5.7 million as well. So normally when a team has 2 main injuries, like when it happened to Wolves and you could pick Kilman up at 4 million, unfortunately Chelsea have got far too many players for that to happen. But yeah, that, as I say, is my team for the week upcoming. Relatively happy with it. No real urgency for changes. I made the one to Kane, which hasn't worked out so far. Hopefully it does over the next few weeks. Any future changes I'm going to make will all be pointing in the direction of that double game week. As I say, I've already got the West Ham defender. Maybe I could try and move Phillips out for another one and double up on it. Or maybe even try to... Well, this is the thing, you don't want to ruin your whole team. I don't really want to get rid of Salah, Fernandes, Sterling or Grealish. Watkins I could get rid of tomorrow. Calvert-Lewin I'm still undecided on, and Kane's just come in, so really it's more of my defenders I'm going to probably try and look to switch around. But I've already got West Ham, I've already got Leeds. But then this is the thing, or I could go with option 2, which is just brave the lack of players in game week 18 and then free hit it in game week 19 and then go way over the top on players. Maybe that is a better way to go because it means I'm not having to alter my team as we go through. I need to work out how many of these players will actually be in game week 18, and that'll give me a better idea of what to do for game week 19. But yeah, I'm talking about something that isn't happening for another 3 weeks, so I've got plenty of time, but at least you guys are aware of it as well now. Thank you all for watching. As always, drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed. I know it's been a few weeks since the last fantasy football video, but it's been a busy time. Christmas is coming up, but Boxing Day is always good for football, so I can't wait. Hopefully Salah scores a hat-trick and hopefully Sterling doesn't. But yeah, thank you all for watching. As always, prediction video will be out tomorrow, maybe Thursday, because we have the League Cup tonight and tomorrow. Newcastle are playing Brentford, so hopefully we'll win that. But yeah, again, thank you for watching. Drop a like, subscribe. Let me know how you're doing, what you're doing this week, and I'll catch you later.